welcome to another episode of PSINYS. We are now on Spreaker Radio, and we are pleased to announce that we will be doing shows here in the future on this site. Okay, that was some cheers in the background there. We're happy to announce that this will be a start of our live broadcast on Spreaker Radio, Spreaker Radio, and we will be having live call-ins and guests, just like on Blog Talk. First, let me tell you a little bit about what's going on here. The site that we're on is www.spreaker.com/PSINYS. That's SPREAKER, and this is coming to you live from our studio. And like I said, we'll also have guests here on this site. So basically, it's a new show, a new way of getting the PSINYS paranormal scientific investigation in New York State out there. And we're hoping that we will have some call-ins. We have applied for a number, and we have the number, but it's not activated yet. So when the show does start, this will be the live call-in number, and it's 518-300-3771. So if you want to mark that down for the future, again, it's 518-330-3771, and it will also be connected to Skype, so you'll be able to call in on your Skype account by dialing that number. That's another way you'll be able to speak with us here on our paranormal PSINYS paranormal podcast radio show. So, I just want to make a few announcements here. As far as the Blog Talk Radio, I've put up a series of our best shows that we have had, and I've put them on different times. So I started this the 24th of this month, which was this Saturday, and I've rerun the Saturday show twice. Let's see, the first one was on here at the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over here, and that was on last night at 7. So those of you that tuned in, it was a pre-recorded show of our near-death experiences. Well, not ours, but of near-death experiences. And that was a rerun of that show, which aired the 28th of December, 2014, pretty much when we started last year, shortly after that. And that show is running right now, actually, tonight, October 25th, 2015, Sunday, and it started at 8 p.m. We're also going to be, like I said, running the rest of the week leading up to our special Halloween night broadcast, which will be on Blog Talk Radio. And we'll also air the cast on this site as well once it's up and running. But let's get to tomorrow night's show. Let's see. All right. The 27th, 10/27, which is Tuesday of next week, and that will be on at 10 p.m. That'll be a live show of, it's going to be a rerun of a live show that we put on back in the 28th of December, 2014. And our topic pretty much was paranormal and anomalous activities, as well as some scientific aspects as to the future of the paranormal and other worldly and otherworldly incidences. And that'll be running Tuesday. And again, the 27th, Tuesday at the 26th at 9 p.m. And we'll run again the 27th at 10 p.m. And then we will have on the 28th an interview with our special guest. One of the first interviews we had with her, Claudia Cunningham, and that was aired January 25th, 2014, and she will be talking about the Men in Black. For those of you who haven't heard the show, you will be able to hear it on by tuning into our Facebook page, and just click on a link of the date that it's being aired. So that's another one of our shows. As I say, Claudia Cunningham was a guest on Coast to Coast with George Norrie and Tim Beckley. She also has been on some other shows, radio shows as well. She's been written about in a couple of books. A very interesting woman, and we've had her on our show. So the show that was from January 25th, 2014 with Claudia Cunningham discussing the Men in Black will air the 28th at 8 p.m. 2015. That'll be Wednesday's show. So be sure to tune into that. The 29th at 9 p.m. of next week, our show will consist of a rerun of our interview with Lorena Miller, one of our psychics, intuitive consultants, and I will be interviewing her, talking about a wide variety of topics, including government cover-ups and aliens. So that's an interesting show. If you didn't hear that, you'll be able to hear that again the 29th of this month at 9 p.m. That'll be Thursday of next week. And on the 30th at 10 p.m., we will be talking, it'll be a rerun of our show about EVPs, paranormal experiences, and we will have a caller that we discussed that had asked a few questions, and we hope that we were able to answer them for her. So she's also part of our team. So if you're able to tune in that night at 10 p.m., please do so. Again, that'll be the 30th at 10 p.m. A rerun of our show EVPs, about EVPs. That's on PSINYS, Paranormal Talk Radio, www.blogtalk.com /PSINYS. You'll find a whole bunch of our shows there from the beginning up to the present. But on these shows that are playing now will also be on Blog Talk, airing on those specific nights. And you'll also be able to find them here on our Facebook page. You go and click the link, the PSINYS Facebook page here, and when you click the link, you'll be able to tune into our show right there on the PSINYS's Facebook page. Also Twitter will have that as well. So many ways of tuning in and many ways of listening. And with this new platform going up, we'll be having separate shows aside from Blog Talk. Our Blog Talk casts. We'll also be having these shows here on SpreakerRadio.com /PSINYS /PSINYS. Now, all these shows basically that are airing that started Saturday and ending on the 30th, leading up to our Halloween special here, Halloween night. And that show will again be about our guest, Claudia Cunningham. She'll be the second, this will be the third time she's been on. And this will be a live interview with her. We're hoping to have another guest when we come on at 9 o'clock that night, October 31st, Halloween night. And then Claudia Cunningham will be coming in the second hour of the show. I'll give you a little history about her again here. As I said, the past two shows have been very fascinating and very interesting. We've learned a lot. And she is just a wealth of information. So I'm trying to find her bio here, and I think I've got it right now. All right. As I said, Claudia is fairly well versed in the paranormal. She has appeared on the George Norrie Show Coast to Coast AM with Timothy Green Beckley. She has also appeared on some other shows with the noted UFO investigators Brad Stringer and Alan Greenfield. Some other shows include the Paracast, the Clyde Lewis Show, and Darkness Radio. And now she's on PSINYS Paranormal Talk Radio Show. It's been on twice and will be on the third time, which will be Halloween night. And she has also been written about in several books by Timothy Green Beckley and international paranormal expert Nick Renford. Claudia's most recent adventures are featured in Renford's new book, Men in Black, Personal Stories and Eerie Adventures, which was recently released. Her life story is the study of paranormal happenings, including UFO sightings, poltergeist activity, witnessing of a full-body apparition in Albany's notorious Ten Brook Mansion in 1967. She is a native of Albany, New York area, and a student of all things paranormal. Very, very interesting person. And another guest we've had on, like I said, and this will be airing during the week, is Lorena Miller. She is an investigator, and one of our investigators, an intuitive consultant and psychic. Lorena has been in the field for over 35 years, was born and raised in Schenectady, New York, and worked in the human service field for over 25 years. Presently, she is an executive director for a nonprofit organization. Lorena has joined the PSINYS team and brought with her valuable paranormal experiences and a long-standing interest in the paranormal field. Lorena is a psychic and a medium, and she utilizes these skills for the team as well as other services provided by PSINYS. Lorena has personal experiences in the paranormal field and has worked on paranormal team previously. She enjoys what she does in the name of science and helping people both in the present, human form, and those on the other side. Lorena will continue to promote the paranormal field, even though there may be non-believers who don't fully understand the vast theories of the paranormal world. So, we also have had a guest on, which is up here on Spreaker Radio. Lori, she was on last week, and she's also can be heard on this site right here in one of our previous podcasts. I just wanted to point out that Saturday, Claudia will be talking about Cydonia and many other mysterious and crazy happenings out there for Halloween night. So we hope that you tune in, and like I said, that'll be live on Blog Talk Radio, PSINYS, Paranormal Talk Radio Show, and that will start at Halloween night, the 31st, at 9 p.m. So we hope to have her in by 10, and we hope to have another guest on before her. As long as I'm on here tonight, I just want to make a few little announcements here. I know I said in one of my podcasts last week about the Pope with his, he's just an amazing person, very open-minded, and I just want to run this clip about the Pope talking about baptism for everyone, including if it happened beings from another planet. So let's play that clip here.
Pope Francis reiterated his view that everyone has the right to be baptized, and apparently that invite extends even to Martians. The pontiff described the hypothetical situation during morning mass. According to Vatican Radio, Francis said, if, for example, tomorrow an expedition of Martians came, and some of them came to us, and one says, but I want to be baptized, what would happen? In other words, says The Wire, if God prompts some Martians to come to Earth, find the Pope, and say, we want in on this Catholicism thing, the Pope would probably say, okay, cool, but probably in Latin. The Pope was making the point that baptism shouldn't be denied to anyone, including children of unmarried parents. We're guessing he wasn't totally serious about the aliens part, because after all, he's been known to ditch his prepared speeches in favor of a joke before. After his election, he reportedly turned to his cardinals and deadpanned, "May God forgive you for what you have done." He once quipped he was the church's pharmacist whose job it was to prescribe prayer. Joking aside, it's worth noting Pope Francis isn't alone in his compassion toward extraterrestrial life. The Vatican's astronomer said a few years ago he'd baptize a Martian because any entity, no matter how many tentacles it has a soul. The Pope says those Martians, by the way, are probably green with long noses and big ears. Who knew? For Newsy, I'm Elizabeth Hagedorn, Multiple Sources, A Broader View.
All right, there you have it. So that's an interesting prospect there. Another quick note about water being found on Mars by the Curiosity rover. I want to run that clip for you.
It says it has new evidence of flowing water on the surface of Mars. And I'll bring a picture up for you. You'll look at it. Now, the dark streaks in this image are believed to be liquid and extremely salty water. Researchers have known for years that Mars has frozen water at its poles, but this finding, it's a game changer. Now, water raises hope that the cold, dry, so-called red planet may sustain life. Now, Tom Kurz is an astronomer at the Royal Observatory Greenwich. He joins me now live from London. Tom, good to see you. The big question here, can this water sustain life on Mars?
It's a really interesting question, and this finding is going to get astrobiologists really starting to think about what kind of environments there are on Mars, what sort of potentially habitable environments there might be. I think the prevailing view is that actually this extremely salty, mineral-rich water is not the best place to be looking for life on Mars. What this finding really helps us to understand is that water is an active volatile on Mars. Mars does have a water cycle. It's not a dead world. We might think of it perhaps as a dying world, but it's not completely dried up. And water has been found over a wide number of regions on the surface of Mars. I think many astrobiologists suspect that actually, if we're going to want to find life on Mars today, we need to be looking probably for fresh water, which is suspected to exist even in liquid form at wider latitudes nearer the poles of Mars.
Okay, so it's too early to reach any conclusion just yet if this water finding is in fact sustaining life on Mars. But you mentioned it's very salty water. So could it be desalinated? Could this Martian water sustain human visitors to Mars?
This is certainly this is probably the most exciting reason that this finding has been talked about so much. I think the ability to actually harvest water on Mars will be extremely important for human visitors. And it's not actually just the molecular water that we can get, but the minerals in the water could be useful as well. These chlorate and perchlorate salts that have been found keeping the water stable on Mars could also be harvested and could even be used, as NASA scientists have suggested, to build things like solid rocket boosters. So actually building your trip home while you're on the surface is a possibility that we can now start to think about.
Yeah, we need to find out more about these streaks of water, this evidence that we found via satellite. Can NASA send the Mars rovers there to investigate the water?
Well, at the present time, I think NASA are considering trying to get one of their most active rovers, which is the Curiosity on Mars Science Laboratory, potentially closer to one of these sites. There is a problem with investigating these sites, even with a future mission, and that is that there's a problem with potential contamination. At the moment, NASA deliberately, and other space agencies deliberately propose landing sites on Mars where any bacteria that make their way over there on the spacecraft, any microbes, will not find an environment that they can move into. When human beings visit Mars, we are inevitably going to contaminate Mars, but if we want to make a signal of native life on Mars, if we want to find that signal, we need to make sure that we don't contaminate the place. Sending a spacecraft which may still have microbes from Earth on it to a place where those microbes could be able to thrive has the potential to spoil any chance we have of finding native life by essentially sending terrestrial life there first and then rediscovering that, which wouldn't be very fruitful for us.
Yeah, we don't want to contaminate the scene, but more needs to be investigated to find out if there's a fresher source of water, to find out where the water is coming from on Mars. Will there be more research? Could there be a new mission to Mars?
There will be many more missions to Mars, undoubtedly. The 2020 mission is very exciting. That's a rover which NASA will be sending to Mars in the coming years based on the platform that they've already tested out there. That rover will be testing all sorts of things which could ultimately really help human exploration of Mars. For example, that rover will be taking oxygen out of the atmosphere to make a breathable oxygen for potential human visitors, and also investigating what the soil is like on Mars and how likely it is we can get the water out of that soil. But the great thing about this finding is that these hydrated salts, which have been confirmed from space, which is quite remarkable when you think about it, give water much more stability on the surface of Mars. So what was previously thought to be difficult, if not impossible, to have water effectively in the soil on Mars has now become a reality, and that is really exciting.
Yeah, this is an incredible, incredible discovery. We'll leave it at that. Tom Kerr is astronomer joining me live from London. Thank you so much for walking us through this finding and what it means for science.
Okay, so another interesting note that we wanted to touch upon here. Again, you can tune in to us. This will be our new show, upcoming in the future. You'll be able to call in live, just like on Blog Talk. www.Spreaker.com. That's SPREAKER.com/PSINYS. And we'll be bringing up announcements as well. Don't forget to tune in to www.blogtalkradio.com/PSINYS for our Halloween night special guest interview with Claudia Cunningham, and possibly before that, Lorena Miller. So we look forward and are very happy that we are now using this platform to get PSINYS, Paranormal Talk Radio podcast shows out there. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm your host, Patrick, and thank you for listening. Good night.